So I have good news on my granddad. So he has recovered, not fully, but enough to be out of the hospital. So he moved out of the hospital back to his senior home today. However, he's not doing as good as he was before he went to the hospital. So he doesn't get his old room back. So he's moving to a new room in a more intensive care area. I think he'll be okay. He was a sniper and a lieutenant in the United States Army in the Philippines, and then he also was in the United States Navy Reserves. And he's very resourceful, and he's been doing good, but he still has family, and we support him and that kind of stuff. I was kind of sad though, because my uncle, so like the son of my granddad, but not my dad, so it's like my mom's dad, Grandad, and then her brother, so my uncle, he came over, and we were gonna have lunch with him and his wife, and his wife, so my aunt, but not my aunt by blood, she has an eating disorder, and we were like, oh yeah, come on over and have some soup, we'll make like beef soup, and she shot it down, and I guess I've mentioned before that like eating disorders are not my thing. It was my sister's thing, is my sister's thing. She had multiple eating disorders like anorexia and bulimia and stuff, and my aunt also has at least one eating disorder, and I think some people get really frustrated with people with eating disorders. I don't, in part just like my sister and I shared a room, and then we shared a bathroom, and our doors are like 5 feet apart, like from the rooms we lived in. So I lived with her. I'm the youngest sibling of my parents, and I have one sibling, and she's my sibling, and she's about 3 years older than me. So I have one older sister, and so we lived together for like 14 or 15 years, and so I guess I kind of got used to it. I think some of the things around eating disorders that bother me are a bit different, like and this comes back to the granddad. Like one of them is, I've noticed people with eating disorders, whenever somebody is thin or slender or skinny, they will immediately say that person has an eating disorder. So people with eating disorders point fingers at all thin people. I think it's partially they're trying to promote their worldview that they like eating disorders and everybody has them. But as someone who has been skinny and worked very hard to get there and dieted and exercised and stuff like that, no, it's not true that every slender person or thin person or every skinny person, no, by and large, a lot of them are actually healthy and achieve that weight in a healthy manner, not with the eating disorder. So that's a very small fraction of the population, and even the skinny population is like a very small fraction, it's like 1% or something like that, have eating disorders. So 99% are healthily skinny, kind of thing. That was like a statistics I encountered from like the National Health Institute or something, Institute of Health or something, in the United States of America. So if you trust them or not. Anyway, the other thing, so them kind of pushing what they do on others is something that I'm not the fondest of. The second is what relates back to my granddad is my aunt, because she has an eating disorder, she wants to be in control of every family interaction that has food at it. So if we are going to make food, like, she doesn't want to be there because she doesn't want to eat, that kind of thing. And how dare you suggest that we have food? Like, she doesn't even have to eat the food, kind of thing. It's her choice to eat or not. And so, but like my sister does that too. She'll try and control menus and stuff like that. Or add a bunch of salt to stuff just to, like, people with eating disorders, I've noticed their taste buds tend to be a little different, and like salt can help like satisfy hunger, even if one doesn't eat as much. So she salts her food a lot. She also used olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, as a laxative, so that was like part of her bulimia, my sister. And so it's just really sad because my uncle came over to visit my granddad, and we were not able to see him because this aunt with the eating disorder, my other aunt, I have only one blood aunt. She does not have eating disorder. She's healthy. She's athletic. She ran track and field at the state championships level in high school in Washington State. So she's very athletic. She's kept on being athletic into, I guess technically she's a senior now. But she's athletic her whole life, and healthy her whole life, kind of thing. And if she's been thin, she's worked for it with diet and exercise in a healthy way. So I guess it kind of comes back around to Grandad, and it's just kind of, he moved into a new home with more intensive care. That's exciting that he got out of the hospital, and that, they said they don't really have, it can be very variable how long people live once they move into this intensive care unit. So we don't really know how long. They didn't give even an estimate. So they were just like, it can be very variable. So we don't know. And yeah, and I think in all of this, the biggest stressor and takeaway was, it's sad that when we didn't know how he was going to do that, this family member that married into the family wants to control family interactions because she doesn't want to eat food. There's this negative aspect to eating disorders that's about family control and social control and control of social interactions and control of food at family gatherings and food at social gatherings. And I would say that kind of is, I don't know. I think if somebody keeps their eating disorder to themselves and they do it, people with eating disorders that I've known, they take extreme pride in it. It's not self-confidence issues whatsoever. They take pride in what they do. And that it bothers people. Like, I've literally had my aunt say she does things to get a reaction. So, like, if people are reacting like, you threw up your food, right? They do it for that interaction with people. From her words herself. And so it's just kind of, it gets frustrating. It gets tiring. It gets old. I would have liked to see my uncle, but because she has an eating disorder, we don't get to see him. Like, so it's tangentially related, but very related because I don't get to see my uncle that often. And partially it's because of somebody with an eating disorder. It's just frustrating.